to her for advice, and she was the first person I told about my homosexuality and who I was as a person. And she accepted me for who I was. And so when I lost her, I felt as if I lost that support cast, that supporting system.
Why is depression a difficult issue to talk about in the black gay community?
I think it's difficult to talk about because there's a lot of pain there, a lot of hidden pain there, and there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of people don't want to address the truth. The truth hurts, and so instead of dealing with it, they usually try to ignore it or deny that it even exists.
What are some of the issues, or what are some of the things that prevent black gay men from talking about their depression?
Well, I think you have, just in New York City, I think there's so many distractions. You have people who would rather sleep around with this person and that person to kind of mask that reality. Do you know what I mean? And they'll try to substitute things to fill that void of being depressed and dealing with their real life issues.
Why is it difficult for black gay men to talk about it?
It's difficult to talk about. I think being a black gay male, so I'm speaking for myself right now, being a young black gay male, I think it's hard to just open up and talk and get into dialogue because everything is just so suppressed. And so it's just hard for us to be open and vocal about it.
Why is it hard?
I think it's hard because it varies on the individual, but I think it's hard because people don't like to deal with issues until they're ready to deal with them. You know what I mean? Some people, they'd rather just ignore it and wait. Like, oh, I'll deal with it later. They put it off. But I think there's this need to address it now. It's all about now and getting it out now, and that's why I'm doing this. I feel that just being out and about and being who I am is a great step in the healing process.
My name is Nathan James. I'm an author, advocate, and theatrical producer. I believe that there is a direct relationship between depression in gay men of color and the society in which we live, its institutions, how we're brought up by our families, and how we experience homophobia when we become adults and have to deal with the prejudices of the people we meet in all areas of people activity, in work, in religious activities, in social settings, in familial relationships. And I think that the causes of depression in gay men of color can be traced directly back to the behavior of society towards those it finds easy to hate, easy to discriminate against, easy to look down upon. I further believe that depression in gay men of color is a problem which is not often treated in a timely or appropriate manner because the healthcare system and the mental health profession, which exists to treat depression in people across the board, has a strong tendency to be heteronormative and to be hostile towards the LGBT population. This was brought out in New York City's own report that was commissioned by the public advocate. Depression utterly kills creativity. It makes it very, very difficult, if not impossible, to pursue creative projects or to express oneself artistically. And the tragedy here is that there are so many gifted, wonderfully creative, artistic people in our LGBT community who cannot bring their talents to fruition because they are struggling with the challenges of depression and how to survive in today's very homophobic society. I know from my own experience in the theater, in the literary community, in expressing my own opinions and my own forms of art, that it is difficult to realize the dreams and goals and aspirations of my creative self. If I am also struggling with depression and feelings that I am worthless or less than, or that my self-esteem is being slowly squashed into the ground by those who have a psychological need to feel better than me.
Hey everyone, this is Jason Duvall Hunter, and I am now officially, technically, a writer, producer, director of a soon and upcoming play called Cybersex the Play. And I'm doing this video with Mr. Antoine Craikwell to discuss depression among gay men. And I have definitely been affected by depression in my life, and I was fortunate enough to be able to fuel those experiences in the play that I wrote called Cybersex the Play, and the characters dealing with sexuality and sexual conflict and sexual identity. I was molested by an older cousin at the age of 8 years old, and it was an extremely traumatic and unfortunate chain of events that took place in my life that really put a strain on my sexual identity and how I identified myself sexually, be it with men or with women or with whatever. To date, I've been able and fortunate enough in the last 10 years to have addressed these issues with my sexuality in therapy, basically speech therapy. I go to therapists, once a month or every other week, or now weekly, to deal with these issues that took place when I was 8 years old, and it's very real. At one point, I was suicidal. I also was at a point where I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't think life was worth it. I spent almost a year in bed and just depressed and cutting everybody out of my life and out of the world because I didn't trust anybody. I didn't want to be involved with anyone. But because of this therapy, when I finally took the opportunity and realized that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, that I wanted to live my life and that life was worth living, the therapist and myself was able to come to terms with those issues of the past. It doesn't erase them, but is able to put them in perspective and live my life to the fullest. And so I took all of that life experience and put it into this play called Cybersex the Play, which I'm looking at producing, and hopefully it can go as far as it can go. It's going to start off Broadway here in New York City, but there's a character in it that is very reminiscent of my life experience, as well as exploring the sexuality of different people, between transgendered to bisexual to homosexuals to black, white, whatever. All of this is explored in this play, and the reason why I was able to do that is because of my own life experience, and hope people get a chance to come out and see it. And if you are suffering from depression, it's a real issue. You should get therapy or get treatment for it, because it does not just go away, and it is a suffering, because I was there. I was suffering from depression, but now I'm dealing with it, able to deal with it. And I told Antoine, like before, I don't consider myself to be really depressed anymore. I don't get depressed. I deal with my issues as they come up, the same way I dealt with my issues of molestation and incest. I dealt with it. So there you go. And I hope everybody, gets something from this video. And thank you very much.